Everybody, welcome back to the Champion Living Podcast, the only podcast crossing the lines between the sport of rodeo and fitness. Today's episode, we are catching up with the boys here. Logan has had a very busy weekend over at is it called the International Fencing Forum or something like that?
It's just a fall fence forum.
Yep. Oh, fall fence forum. Well, we're going to fill you guys in all on what's going on there, his experience over there. It seemed like it was an awesome weekend. Oh, I just got home from yet another wedding and don't have to do that for a while. So we'll be kind of catching up on what the game plan is there, what I've got going on, and everything that Paul has going on. And we're going to get into us personally, our workouts, why we do them, how our mindset has transitioned from being competitive athletes to just being functional human beings, and kind of walk you guys through what our daily routine looks like there. But we're diving in right now. Boys, how are we this morning? You guys look way more awake than me.
Doing all right.
Yeah, we're good.
Yeah, I left to go get coffee this morning. Usually I just make coffee at the house, but I was like, kind of, I don't know, just felt a little stir crazy. I was like, I'm just
feeling froggy.
Go out and get coffee. Yeah, well, I mean, like with what we do, like, you know, there's at least a couple days a week like that I don't leave the house.
Oh yeah,
and like I have to like intentionally think about like I have to go out. Like I have to go do something. I have to go talk to somebody or go to a store. I have to just get out of the house. So,
dude, I'm in the same boat.
Yeah, I feel got me a double shot espresso. I'm feeling pretty good. So,
when I'm home, I'm like all there, right? Because it's been so crazy, and you guys are about to be the same way. Doug's been busy, but like. I don't want to go. I don't want to go anywhere I don't have to leave.
Oh, I'm sure.
I don't have to leave for a week and a half. I'm like, I don't want to go anywhere. I want to stay here and become a hermit and let my 17 whiskers grow out, you know, and
your schedule's been so back to back all year long. Like you would leave from one thing and then you have something else immediately as soon as you get home.
It's been crazy, and it's all been good things. And really, the beginning of the year started pretty slow-ish. You know, I mean, we just had some high-low rodeos and whatnot, but it's been going and blowing
like 3
here
clinics
lately.
In January. What are you talking about?
That's true. Okay, that's true. Okay, maybe it hasn't been slow. Maybe it just feels like it's slow because it was a while ago. But it has been. Yeah, it has been just absolutely wild here lately, and it's only going to continue to be wild for the next foreseeable future, probably 33 years. But anyway, it's been good. This weekend I was over in Indiana, and Ryan Gray, bareback rider, went to the finals 8 or 9 times. He has been a client of ours, working with Coach Matt Hooks for almost a year now, I think, and he's a part of this group of guys. They all have fence building companies. They're all over the country. And they put on this event every year called the Fall Fence Forum. And so Ryan, this year they wanted to incorporate a little bit of like fitness and nutrition for just information, just conversations, just try to promote it. They had a guy from New Zealand come in that is really working in like mental health and helping people like unpack things. And it was really cool. But so they wanted to bring it up, and Ryan said, I know just the people. So he reached out, and Doug was like, hey, you want to go to this fencing convention? And I'm like, what? Are we talking about swords, or are we talking about like posts and wire? I don't understand. And I don't understand what physical fitness would really have to be.
The other guy.
That's what I thought. I like should have showed up with a sword and like the mask, you know, and be like, I'm ready to learn, you know. Wrong kind of fencing. Wrong kind of fencing. Man, so, but I got to go over there, and I had very little expectations. I've got a little bit of fence at my place that I had a friend of mine and myself built, and so I'm like, and it looks horrible, by the way. But at any rate, it doesn't look horrible, but it's not professional fence. We'll just put it that way. So I go over there and had to state, like, hey, by the way, I'm definitely not a fence builder. None of you are invited to my house because you'll probably never let me come back to this thing if you look at my fence.
Redo it all for you.
It was, yeah, absolutely. It was one of the best trips that I've that I can remember having. I mean, top 5 for sure. Like rodeo wise, as a contestant, at working with Champion Living Fitness, I it's really hard to explain, but I came in and day one, the weather wasn't great. So they're kind of having to do a little bit of freestyle type stuff. And they have a couple different fence building competitions for, singles, like just one guy, a short stretch of fence with all kinds of like, I want to use the term obstacles, but maybe they've got to go down a hill and they've got to figure out about that post at the bottom of the hill, keeping it from coming up. And they've got very specific, like each wire has to be these millimeters apart from the other wires, and the way their knots are tied and all the kind of stuff that they're judged on this criteria. So they had a few of those things that they were going to do over the weekend. And the first day we really just kind of got to visit inside the shop, and they had these 4 posts set up with like a little bit of fake fence, and they were probably 10 feet long. They had 2 of them parallel. And so they just out of boredom, essentially, they're like, okay, they've got this battery powered staple gun. You got to put 3 staples in this post, go down, hand pull 3 staples out of the other post, go to the next post, tie off a termination knot, which I now know what that is, and then run the wire and tie it off, and then use a ratchet in the middle and tighten it, and to time yourself. And it was so much. They sat there and did that. There was probably, I don't know, 2 dozen guys that took a turn, and you could have 3 chances. And it was crazy how competitive it got. They would do that all in under 2 minutes. I think the winning time was like 1:26 or something like that. Dang. And it was pretty cool to watch. But then the next day they had the singles competition. Ryan Gray, as well as Luke Gibson, the guy that's putting on this fall fence forum, were in it, both of which are our clients. And then the last day they had a doubles competition where you could use equipment. So they've got these $150,000 ProTech Evos, pound posts for you, and stretch wire, and they've got an auger on them, and they've just got this like, control. You just walk behind it and drive it. And it is not your grandpa's fencing company, I will say that, but it was really, really, really cool to see, and to be able to we sat up every night as a group talking till 11 or midnight. Like, we were just up there talking. They were like, a lot of these guys were unpacking some struggles that they've had, not only in their business, but then it led to like marriages and raising kids and trying to find work-life balance. And I took so much away from the fact that these guys, they work hard, 16-hour days outside. Like their work is very different from my work, but we struggle with the same things. And it was so cool to hear from what they've gone through and what they're dealing with and how they attack it, and being able to share with each other. And it was just amazing. I'll end with this. The coolest part about the whole thing, I think, was this. They did this tool time. So all the guys kind of gathered around. It was like 10:30 at night, and they all brought a tool that made their jobs easier and or had like some sort of story behind it. And so they all would talk about this tool that they brought, and they would give it away. They'd give it to somebody else. They're like, this tool's made, and there were like some really like pretty nice tools in there, and they would tell the story about it and give it to somebody else. And it was a place that builds men, and they happen to do some fencing. Like, it was just so cool to be a part of. And I've already been like thinking about next year. Like if I'd known that, I mean, I'd have brought could order some Champion Living foam rollers for everybody or something like that. Yeah. Or, like, hey, like, how can I I want to be a part of that, even though I'm not in the fencing industry. And I was very much a part of the community. And it was, I have the feeling the day after I had the feeling that I had the day after our first OPA, where you're just like, cool. You miss the boys, you miss the community, you miss so it was a absolutely amazing weekend.
Dude, that's awesome. I love that. It's the same demographic, if you will, but not at all the same as rodeo. Like, Ryan, as obviously was part of the rodeo and is still part of the rodeo community, but he has found this new community among fencers, small business owners, and they're taking this whole thing to a new level. And, based off like the competition side of it, hearing that, like, you can't be just a average guy and do really, really well at that. These guys are actually working on their fitness. They're realizing that, manual labor, yes, you're working out all day, but doing the work before that or in between that is only going to make you better at your job and better at, the work-life balance, all of the things that you guys were you're kind of talking about there. So I love that you got to go there, and keeping up with all the videos, man, it was so fun to watch and see. It's totally different thing for all of us. I hadn't, like you said, I had no idea what that was in the beginning. When Ryan called me, I was like, absolutely,
None.
we would love to be there. Like I would love to have someone be there and check that out and see how we can help everybody. Because at the end of the day, that's why we're here. We want to change rodeo, but we also are just here to help anybody and everybody get better at whatever their walk of life is. And if that's building fence in a really competitive way, hell yeah, we're here for it. So glad you got to be there. Can't wait to hear about all the things that come from that, and see if any of these guys get going, and then get to check in the next year is where, for me, that's the best part, is seeing how much of an imprint you got to leave and how their lives have changed because of that. So thanks for going and sharing all that, dude. That's super cool.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Paul, how's life, buddy? How's kids? You got a new member of the family, I hear.
Yeah. We do. We got a new member of the family. We my wife's brother and his wife just had their second kid the other day, and so we were super excited about that. Looks like, I think tomorrow we are going to get to go down there and meet her for the first time, now that she's home. So yeah, Heather's like, I've got baby envy again. And I'm like, you have a baby.
Don't.
Like, you started this trend. Like, your baby's only 6 months old. Chill out.
Oh, that's funny,
dude. Lacey,
how is this even a thing?
Lacey, we're at church, and they're the people we always sit behind. They've got a brand spanking new baby. And the other day, she looks at the baby, and then she looks at me, and I'm like, what do you want from me? I can't help you.
I'm literally.
It's a little late for that. Yeah. I cannot help you.
She just remembers shortly after the last one, she sent you to the doctor. Is like, this is never happening again, ever.
Yeah. You've already put me.
It was the appointment was scheduled before you ever left the hospital with that baby. So.
No, let's not go down that road. I don't know how. There's nothing I can do for you. You're on your own.
Yeah,
that's funny. Well, that's awesome, man. Congrats to your brother-in-law and you guys. It's always all of us. Everyone's having babies. It's wild. Mm-hmm. It's that time of year.
'Tis the season.
Yep, 'tis the season. I wanted to jump into some things today about us and about our training. We talk all the time on our Instagrams and Facebooks and on here about things athletes can do and various ways of preparing yourself to be competitive in any sport. But I thought it'd be a good idea to talk about what the average Joes are doing in the gym these days, and how we're balancing our work-life ratio and getting to the gym. And it's still tough. It's still hard to keep everything balanced and to get after it. And then it's also, I'd say it's a little bit hard when you don't have a concrete goal that's as easy as being in a competitive sport, right? When you're competing in something, it's easy to define that goal, that why. When you get done competing, it's a little tougher to figure out why you want to go to the gym, or it's even easier to say, oh shit, I'll just miss today, I'll get it tomorrow, And then we kind of fall into this funk of not working out and not staying active, and everything just kind of piles after that. And I don't know about you guys, but like my attitude will change, my mindset changes when I'm not working out. Like I need to move. And so for me, that's been the biggest part, is even if I don't want to go, I know the effects that it'll have if I don't go, and the effects that it'll have if I do go on the rest of my day. So moving to me has become, man, it's just my ritual of knowing that I'm going to feel better after, and I'm going to be so much more productive after. And with the goals in mind, if you don't have a goal, it's damn sure it's hard to stick to a program, when you don't see the why or the end result. So for me, being able to make myself just stick to a program, even though it gets a little monotonous and boring at times, is the biggest thing, because then I know that I'm staying on track to going towards the goal, whatever that is. And the coolest thing about not being in a sport and just exercising to be functional and fit, and you guys are fit parents. Hopefully one day I'll be a fit parent. For now, I'm just a fit dude. So it's essential. You have to stick to a program. You have to stay on a plan, and you got to keep going with it, and you're going to see the results. And my other thing is, I've been tracking my progress a lot, and it makes it really much easier for me when I can look at last week's numbers and say, oh, dude, you lifted 5 pounds heavier or 10 pounds heavier here. You're getting stronger. You're getting better. And I've been taking pictures of myself every morning when I'm getting up, maybe twice a week, 3 times a week. And I've never done that before. But it's been cool to see the progress and change. Hang on. It's also allergy season.
Yes, it is.
Oh, man, I've been sneezing and just allergies real bad. But yeah, it's different now. You know, when we were Rodeo and when we had circuit finals, the NFR in mind, going to that gym every day just feeds that, right? You're like, oh, I'm one step closer, baby. Let's keep putting that in work, putting in that work. And then now it's just, I want to look good, feel good. And beyond that, I'm good. I just want to be able to go do all the things I want to do without having to think twice about it, right? Like hunting, obviously, we talk about that a lot. If I didn't exercise, I would be a wreck out there. I wouldn't be able to do any of the things I wanted to do. I'd be halfway up the mountain and wanting to go home because it's like that type 2 kind of fun. It's fun once it's over, but during it sucks. You know, so I just work it out could be a little bit like that too. But, you know, me personally, I've been doing a lot of our mix sessions that we have, and we don't talk about mix sessions a whole lot or haven't a whole lot yet. But essentially, we're taking those upper and lower splits that are extremely popular in fitness and any kind of programming, and we're changing how those splits work. So instead doing, you know, push and pull, yes, will be there, or, you know, upper and lower extremities are there, but we're focusing these things on power, strength, hypertrophy, and then some kind of accessory at the end. And each day that accessory is changing. So whether it's core work, you know, we're talking about prone core, supine core, or anti-rotation or rotational movements, we're splitting those up to make sure that we're hitting all of those areas of movement and we're not missing out on anything. So for me, it's been really cool to see the athletic changes that are happening in me, especially with these mixed sessions. So a lot of the power movements are lots of jumping, leaping, balancing, learning how to land correctly again, things that we don't practice in everyday life. And honestly, if you're not in a sport specific program or playing a sport that requires that, you're probably not training those things. But for me, when we've been writing these programs and Logan's been putting out a lot of good programs with this stuff, it's cool to feel athletic when you get done and to feel like you can go do anything you want and you can go leap over things, you can jump, you know how to land. You're not worried about any of that, and it's just something we don't practice in everyday life. So you're thinking about as people progress in age, what happens? We see balance go away. We see people tend to fall over more, and it's just because they're not practicing those traits or those exact things. So for us, it's about being athletic your entire journey through life. And again, it's going to look different than it did when you were in sport. The reps are way lower, the volume's lower. It's not our job to be professional athletes anymore. Our job is to continue to move our body in a way that keeps us active, but also takes about an hour tops, you know, in the gym. And I think that's one of the hardest things people run into is, I got to work out for 2 hours. I got to go ham. I got to, you know, do this and that. And in all reality, you could do having a great workout in 25 minutes. I did it last night when I got off the plane. I got home and coming off of 2 weeks of weddings, like full transparency, I've definitely been drinking some alcohol over these last couple days, right? And these couple weeks, and I've been feeling not good because of it. And I got off the plane and was like, dude, you have got to get some sweat moving, and like you just need to move your body. So I set up the assault bike, grabbed my adjustable dumbbells, did a full body exercise, did a little EMOM, so 30 seconds on, 30 seconds off for 24 minutes. And it was just enough to get a little sweat going, got a little pump, felt better. Boom, that's it. You know, you don't have to do this 60 minutes. You just need to put the work in and get after it. So for me, I've been doing lots of the time consolidated things and then working on these mixed sessions that we've been building, trying out a lot of the things that I'm giving to athletes as well. They're getting ready for the NFR. I'm a big fan of trying the workouts that I'm writing, just because that is at an early coaching age. I like to write workouts, and I didn't understand exactly how they they look good on paper, but damn, you get in the middle of them, you're like, ooh, I messed up. Like this is too much.
Yeah.
So trying them out is a big thing for me. So I've been trying out a lot of it. Logan, what's your training looked like, man? I mean, you've had your transformation since starting here has been unreal.
Yep.
You look mildly like a silverback gorilla now with those traps and big L back. So let's let's hear about what you've been doing and how that's been going with you and how you guys are balancing this with family, with kids, with wife, with a busy schedule. What's that look like for you?
Yeah. Yeah, I'll be completely transparent in the fact that when I got done rodeoing, I was about 150 pounds, and as of this morning, I weighed 187, and so it's been over the last 2 years that I've had this bit of transformation, like you said, not a pretty a large transformation of adding some muscle, and so because of that, I naturally am a little bit more like probably insecure in like not adding more muscle, right? So we kind of naturally have this thing like people that are super skinny and then they get big. There's this tendency for what they might call like body dysmorphia, and like you think that you're really small even though you're not. And that's been some things that I've been working through a little bit. I mean, I obviously know that I'm not tiny like I used to be, but because of that. And because of the fact that we work in the fitness industry, it's important for me to look like I work out, right? Like it definitely helps. There's some super scientific minds that are great strength coaches that maybe don't look like they train. But I know that as you're talking with people that build fence for a living and you show up, and if you're not in shape, it's a little bit harder for them to buy into what you're talking about. And so my training, it depends on the season of the year. It depends on my travel schedule and what's going on. As you alluded to, Doug, I do the same thing. When I write a new program, I really like to demo the things that I'm writing just to make sure that they're appropriate. But I spend a good portion of the year really in really, I'm almost embarrassed to admit it, but really in bro splits. I really spend a lot of time. They're not your typical, I don't really train back and biceps, chest and triceps. I don't, but I will have like a push day. I will have more of a pull focus day, and then I'll have a lower body day. And especially in the summertime and the fall when life is crazy, those are just 3 workouts. And so if I'm home for 5 days, then I'll get those 3 workouts in, assuming that I'm getting some rest the night that I get home. I'll get those 3 workouts in. I might do a little bit mobility on that 4th day, and then I might hit one more either lower body day. If I started with that, I just kind of run it in a cycle. 3 days a week is really sustainable for me with my crazy travel schedule and whatnot. And so that's kind of what I've been doing over the course of the summer, now coming into fall. And I'm really hoping that once we get to, I've got a few like 12 and 14, 16 week programs that I really want to get into. It's just really hard when you're home for 3 days a week or 4 days a week to really be able to stay super consistent on a program. So that's what I'm really excited about after we get back from Australia, is being able to dive into a 14-week program and go. But for now, it's kind of been more bro type stuff, demoing some stuff for other people, and really hitting about 3, maybe 4 days a week with my travel schedule. But I was just talking with Paul about this morning, right before you got on, about something that I've incorporated the last couple of weeks that's really helped me. And this is not feasible for very much of the population, but because I have the gym right here and my schedule is so crazy, I've actually broken up my workouts typically into like 20 to 30, 35-minute workouts. And so this morning, for example, today is a push day. So this morning, for example, I had a really good warm up, and then I went in and I did a few sets of light bench press, barbell bench, and then I started adding weight and progressively went through from the time my warm up sets all the way through my last set of bench press. I probably did about 7 to 8 sets of bench press. And then I followed it up with 3 sets of an incline crush press, resting about 90 seconds between sets on the crush press, more like 2.5. I was moving some heavy weight. I was benching, I was hitting about a 3 rep window for my last 4 sets on the barbell bench. bench, so I was taking a much longer rest period there, but I knocked it out in about 28 minutes. Following my rest protocols, I had a short window of about 40 minutes to be ready before our podcast, and I was like, this is great. I can go in, and I did the barbell bench, and then this afternoon, I'll come back with probably 2 or 3 more push movements. And what I've noticed about being able to split it up like that is that I'm able to, at my recovery, as much like I'm hitting quite a lot of volume, which somebody that's been training consistently for a couple of years is going to need to continue to see progress. And I've been, but I'm not as sore because I'm able to break that up. I'm able to eat between, and it's definitely helped me there. And that's the biggest thing with kids is that, and because we all love our job. If I didn't have a wife and kids, I could sit at the computer for 18 hours a day. I could go in, sleep for a few hours and get back up and be pumped to go do it again. And trying to find this, trying to turn it off for my wife and for my kids with our travel schedule. It's just becoming, very difficult for her. And she never complains. She never says anything. She never complains. She just does what has to be done. But I can see when she's overwhelmed, and I can see when it's hard for her. And that's one of the things that I gained this weekend is other guys going through the same thing. And so I'm this week I'm coming at it with a little bit more intentionality of like, okay, I'm going to try to knock these workouts, make them sure that they're still effective and I'm still consistent, but I need to not miss helping get kids ready for school. I need to not miss dinners, sitting around the table with my family, because at the end of the day, no amount of gains and no amount of money is going to replace these short 10 years that I have with my small children at home. And, raising my kids shouldn't be for sale. It shouldn't be for trade. It shouldn't be something that I'm willing to negotiate. And so anyway, it's just a battle that I've been walking through, and it's really tough. I can only imagine for a lot of our clients that are raising children and have full-time jobs and are trying to keep horses legged up, and they're trying to do all the things. When do I do it? And that's one of the things I love talking to the guys that build fence for a living about is like, it doesn't have to look like what you think it looks like. You could give me 20 minutes 3 times a week for some mobility, and in a month to 6 weeks, you're going to be amazed at how much better you feel. And it's really important that we work with your schedule. And that's another one of the things I love about what we do is that we're able to take a client's schedule and say, okay, what does your work schedule look like? Are we going to the gym? We working out from home? What kind of equipment do we have available? And we're able to specifically put that together.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely, dude.
Yeah, man. Real quick on like what you were talking about, because I know people are wondering, like, with the fact that you splitting up your workouts like that into 2 separate 30-minute sessions, that does not inhibit like gains or progress at all. And some studies are actually showing that might
probably help.
So for those listening, like wonder, like, can you do that and like still get by? Like, yeah, like that's actually a really good idea. If you've got the opportunity to do that, you'll probably see more progress than if you were to go do an hour and a half session straight through, because your body's able to recover, and then you're getting 2 fresh workouts in that day. You're not, the second half of your one big workout is not, you fatigued,
super fatigued
to a point of exhaustion. You're getting a break in between, and you can hit it again with the same intensity. So, dude, that's awesome. But
that is, dude.
My training has been really, really different here lately. It's only really been about 1.5 years ago that I said out loud what my brain knew for a little while, that I wasn't going to get on bulls again. And so as soon as I said that, and I think my coach, my trainer was the first person I said that to. I said, I have to train for something else. Like, otherwise I'm not going to do it. I've worked out this long with literally one goal in mind my entire life, like one goal since I was 10 years old. I said, so I have to have something. And so I had kind of been introduced to some of the Olympic lifts through my training with him. And I was like, it's kind of fun. Like, let's maybe dive into that a little bit. And so we've been training for that. I actually have my first competition in 2 weeks, 11 days from right now.
Yeah.
So I'm very nervous about that. I've made like really, really great progress through this, and kind of show some like potential to be decent at it. And so like that's exciting, but at the same time it's still difficult to stay on this training regimen, because like I'm not, at least not yet, because I haven't been to my first competition, I am not eaten up with Olympic lifting like I was riding bulls. Like riding bulls like occupied every portion of my brain for most of my life. Like Olympic lifting doesn't do that. I don't think about Olympic lifting until I open up my app and go to do my workout that day. That's the first time I think about Olympic lifting. And so I'm not completely ate up with this. So I still struggle with the prioritization of getting my workouts in. And, like on my list of things to do, like spend time with the family, make sure that the kids aren't burning the house down, getting our work done on a daily basis, like working out in my mind is at the bottom of that list. So like, it's 4 or 5 down on my priority list, but it shouldn't be, because when I do work out, say earlier in the day, my mood's better, I have more energy, I'm able to focus, like I get more things done. And so then all those other things kind of fall in line, but like I still battle with the fact of like, oh, I'm looking at my 24-hour day, where like what needs to be first on that priority list. I keep bumping working out down on that list. And so it's like a thing of like, oh, well, if I get it, cool. If I don't, there's always tomorrow, because I'm working out. I think my training schedule right now is like 4 days a week. So I've got a little bit of flexibility in there, or I can bump things up or down a day. But, so like, I guess kind of circling back is like, I struggle with that, because like I said, and the reason that is like this goal that I'm even lifting for, like it's as specific as it is, like it's not in my heart. Like it's more of like a head goal. It's not a heart goal. And so if you've got like a really specific goal, like you're rodeoing, or you're fed up with where you're at and you need to lose some weight, or on the opposite end, kind of like where Logan was, you're fed up with being small and like you need to get bigger, like those are like real, like those are heart goals, like because that's something that it's not you don't have a choice, like I have to do this thing, or else I'm not going to feel accomplished, or I'm not going to feel fulfilled. So there's definitely some battles that I've been struggling with here, but at the same time, with a lower training frequency and with training for this competition and stuff, like I'm stronger than I've ever been in my life. Like I'm maybe not in the best, quote unquote, shape. Like I'm not sub 10% body fat or anything like that, but I really don't want to or need to be. So like it's cool to see that progression there. And I've hit some PRs here recently that I wasn't sure that I'd be able to hit before this competition. So I'm like super stoked about that. But yeah, it's been a journey. So like most people aren't going to relate to my training methodology right now, just because it is a little bit more specific. So I won't go into like super detailed or anything, but it's been fun, and I'm excited to get to this competition. I got my singlet in the mail yesterday. Oh boy. Yes, sir. I've never worn a singlet before in my life. I didn't wrestle in college or in high school just because like I was like, oh man, them guys gotta wear singlets. I ain't doing that. And now I pick a sport where you gotta wear a singlet. So yeah, I put that.
Do you have a fashion show for Heather?
Yeah, I did. She's like, "What do you wear that for?"
So, baby number 4 on the way.
We got home late the other night, and kids fell asleep in the car, and so I transferred them to their bed, and I grabbed the mailbox, and that singlet was in there, and she's like, "You gonna put it on?" I'm like, "Yeah, but I'm put it on." I can see if it fits.
Do you have to do you have to put a sock down there or what?
Bro, I've seen videos that guys do that, and I'm really tempted. Like, I'm because when I say this sucker is tight, I mean this sucker is tight. I ordered a large, and it's like almost too small. Like, if I gain even a pound between now and the competition, like it's not gonna fit. And so Yeah, you guys. I'll be sure to share videos from the competitions.
Not
whether I choose
not
soccer or not.
I want to make it your profile picture on our website, Paul Lloyd, Coach Paul Lloyd, in your singlet.
First time Olympic.
Yeah, but it's not me exercising. It's just me like outside or something in the grass,
in the Captain Morgan stance.
Yeah,
like with your leg up on a stool or something, and like
in a
hands on your
singlet
hips
on a hiking trail.
Yeah.
Oh gosh, no, I can't
Oh yeah, it could escalate so quickly.
Too far. So
quickly. Oh, that's good.
Oh man. So yeah, stay tuned.
Yeah,
I'm gonna lift in it for the first time here right after this podcast. So I'll let you guys know how it holds up. But
yeah, hopefully,
I might have to order another one actually.
Holds up.
Like I said, it is like I could not get my arms through it at most. I was like, oh, this is not what I expected at all. this is way worse than I thought.
I mean, yeah, it's just they're as tight as they get, bud. They're as tight as they get.
I don't know why that's so funny to me. But I'm crying over here.
Well, regardless of how tight his onesie is.
When you start shopping for those things too, like when you start shopping for those things too, there's all kinds of crazy ones that pop up. So when you type in wrestling singlet, there's some different options out there for you that may not be full coverage.
Yeah, okay. I bet not.
Okay, can we stop? I'm not going to finish this podcast.
Everyone out there now has a full education on what to do when buying a singlet. Hopefully, you take some notes from Paul here and get a size too big for you.
Just don't.
Go with the extra large.
Yeah.
If you're not heading to the Olympics in your wrestling career, like just don't.
Just don't. Well, dude, it'll be really cool to get in to like a competitive atmosphere and do something that you're not comfortable with. And I think when you get there, like you said, you don't eat and breathe it, but you'll have that feeling inside where it's kind of like you got some butterflies going on. You've got to, do some things like focusing on the basics and not thinking about the external pressures and all those things. Like it's very similar to rodeo in that sense. And no matter how heavy the barbell is,
it's very technical.
Yep. But if you do the fundamentals correctly, that weight's going to move and it's going to move well. When you start messing up is when you're like, oh shit, this is heavier. I've got to really, really crank on this barbell or really, get a little drive off the ground extra when that's not the way that you do it. So I always loved it. Like, that's why I loved Olympic weightlifting and CrossFit.
Exactly.
It's a
that's
mental
what drew me towards it too.
struggle.
Is like, it's similar to rodeo in the fact that like everything's on your shoulders. Like you can't blame anybody else. Like it's up to you to get the job done. And similarly, the barbell doesn't give a shit what you did before. Like it doesn't care what you lifted yesterday. Like it's still heavy. It's just like with rodeo. Like you climb over the buck and shoots. That bull doesn't give a shit what you did. It doesn't know who you are. It doesn't know your name. It doesn't know your credentials. It's just going to do its job. And like it's the same thing with the barbell. Like it doesn't care. It's just going to be heavy. Like that's it.
Yeah.
So you've got to focus. You've got to drown out the noise. You've got to eliminate as many variables as you possibly can. Like I've been kind of working on like building a walk up, like doing the same thing. Like every time I approach the bar, I'm trying to do the same thing the same way every single time, just like with rodeo. Like you want to have your warm up routine, the way you hang your rope, the way you put your rigging on the horse. Like you want to do everything the same every single time because it's just one less mental variable that you have to worry about. So I do really enjoy that aspect of it.
Yeah, that's cool, man. I love that part about it too. And I think you're going to really enjoy the competition aspect and getting out there and trying something new. And, anybody listening, I think if you're at this place where you are having a hard time finding a why or finding the goal that you want to achieve, trying picking up something new is great. It's a great option and it'll challenge you and kind of keep you hooked on what you're supposed to be doing. And I think that it's badass, man. And that's really, really cool at, older ages here. Most people are shying away from trying new things. So for you to be stepping up and entering a whole new game it's cool, man. And it's admirable. And I think that a lot of people could take a lot from that. And doesn't have to be Olympic weightlifting. Like Logan's talking about the fencing convention he was just at. There's a community for competitive fencing now. And these are all guys that are running their own businesses and working hard at life together. So all that is just great camaraderie, and another way that you can step outside the box and make yourself better every day. So I think it's super cool. And, just to kind of wrap this up, I hope anybody listening, we kind of just blabbered on about what we're doing in our own lives, but hopefully it helped a little bit if you're having trouble finding things you want to do, or staying, pumped up about working out. We all have the same walk of life, but also very different in our day to day. So if you guys have questions, how to balance the work-life ratio, whether you have kids or not, shoot us a message. We'd love to help you, give you some insight. If you're interested in training guys and girls, if you didn't take that away from this, we can make anything work. We can make 20 minutes a day work. We can make 60 minutes a day work. We can make not having any goals, just wanting to be functional work. Or if you have some very specific goals, we can get programs set up just for that as well. It's the best part about what we do. It's all individualized. We're making and creating plans for our clients and their lifestyle, everything they have going on, their schedule. So check us out, championlivingfitness.com. You can get a free consult, hit the athlete sign up form, pick a coach or whatever. You can put whatever coach is best for me, and you get to talk with the coach, get all your questions answered, make sure that we're the right fit for you, and start moving ahead from there. But we work with everyone and anybody. So check us out. Got to thank our sponsors. Beastmaster Rodeo, been with us since day one. Dude, they just put out some new bronc riding boots, rough stock boots, and they are dope. They look so clean. I know they were going off the shelves quick, so guys, check them out, beastmasterrodeo.com. Use our discount code ChampionLiving, all one word, is capitalized. Going to save you 10% on all their products. Then we got to thank Hui Brands. Hui Brands been with us for a while now. We are always rocking their gear. New hoodies are out for their fall line. I just picked up a couple of them the other day, and they are so comfy. They're awesome. You can check them out at getyourhui.com. And yes, I've been getting that wrong for the last couple of weeks on the website, so I do apologize. Getyourhui.com. Use our discount code ChampionLiving, all one word. Going to save you 10% on all your Hui gear. Guys, until next time, we'll catch you later.